यहाँ उपस्थित सब महानुभावों को मेरा प्रणाम। अभी जब डॉक्टर वेंकटरमणी ने आपके साथ इंटरेक्शन शुरू किया, सॉर्ट ऑफ अपना एड्रेस, सो ही सेड सत श्री अकाल, because my journey had been, I was in Chandigarh, thereafter Jammu, then Calcutta, then Allahabad and Delhi. So there also, you see, there would be gathering and all that. So जब भी किसी कमरे में कोई आएगा तो सबको हेलो 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 नमस्कार कुछ होगा, तो I would normally say सत श्री अकाल copy to all. So एक word वो miss हो गया. So instead of going to all or saying everybody Sat Sri Akal or Namaskar independently, we say copy to all. So you have heard rich experience of Dr. Venkatramani in the profession, much more than I have. I am thankful to the Bar Council of Punjab and Haryana for inviting me on this function. You see, coming to Chandigarh and especially this hall is always a homecoming, क्योंकि जहाँ से आपकी सारी रूट्स हैं वहाँ आना कभी भी वेलकम है. Wherever you go in your life, आप कभी भी देखेंगे जो हमारे बहुत सारे लोग फॉरेन कंट्रीज़ में चले गए हैं, वो भी कभी आते हैं तो आके अपने गांव में कोई मिट्टी को सूंघता है, कोई उठाता है, कुछ करता है. So this is always a homecoming and you feel good about it whenever you come to your home. So first of all, many congratulations to the new law graduates who in few minutes will be advocates, because after you get the license to practice or certificate, then only you can call yourself to be advocate. Otherwise you are law graduate, yes. You can serve anywhere where the degree is required to be of a law graduate, but you can't practice law unless you get the certificate. So this is a proud moment even for the parents, because with their guidance, या दूसरी चीज़ इसके साथ ही, you must have seen the movie Three Idiots, maybe उसमें बच्चों का भी रोल हो. They may be thinking नहीं हमने लॉ ही करनी है. Maybe parents may be thinking that they should go in for medicine or engineering or accounts or whatever is there. So whatever is your passion, you have now selected a profession. And I can share that in our times, this was the last choice. Anybody who is getting 45% marks or so, he will go to the law school, law colleges. Schools were not there at that time. Schools is a beginning, I think, as Dr. Venkatramani said, that Dr. Madhav Menon, because he is the pioneer in the 5-year law courses. First was in Bangalore and thereafter it is there in many states. And now it is one of the top choices. You have the entrance examinations. And I think top students go for law now. And if you see going in the law schools, at our time, or maybe this time also, you will never imagine that after completing your law from a very known or a good law school, you will get a package of 20, 30, 40 lakh rupees immediately after you come out from that law school. So this is the quality of this profession. With time which has changed, is bringing best minds in this now. And I was told that in foreign countries, law is the second most important department in any corporate. They don't move without getting opinion of the law department. But here somehow the attitude was, now it is changing. Earlier the attitude was, unless you are neck deep in water, you will not go to any lawyer or even a doctor also to consult. वो self medication का काम है, या अपने आप ही किसी से पूछ के इलाज, या क्या प्रॉब्लम है, लीगल प्रॉब्लम भी आपस में डिस्कस करके सॉल्यूशन निकालते हैं. बट नाउ द थिंग्स आर चेंजिंग. This all was not possible. First was that motivation by your parents, as Dr. Venkatramani said, that they also need to be congratulated, that they all encouraged you to do all this and for all 5 years supported you. This is the red letter day in your life, a new beginning. You must be thinking that you have achieved something. But this is a one small, जिसको हम normally कहते हैं कि पड़ाव है एक छोटा सा, एक डिग्री आपको मिल गई है, which you think is quite valuable. But yes, it is valuable in your career as the first degree. But in future also, you will have to work hard to remain in this profession. This is not something that after getting the degree, if you come in profession, litigation side, leave aside, you go to the job, that you start earning on a very first day. A long gestation period is there in this. In one of the state, I was interviewing the candidates for our judicial service. So in that interview, one of the married girl was there. So we used to ask some normal general questions also to make the candidate comfortable for the interview. Not that beginning only you start with the questions on legal or law. So in that we asked how you are in profession and all that. So who motivated? She belonged to a rural area. She shared with us that after I married, I wanted to continue the profession. And my in-laws would expect that probably daily I'll have some income from the profession. So that was the expectation of their parents-in-law. This is not that kind of a profession, at least in the beginning, because you may get a case maybe in a month, 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the kind of profession. But your real challenge will start now, because now you are जैसे एक समुंदर में आपको फेंक दिया है. And now if either you sink or you swim. And if you want to swim, you will have to make effort. And effort is that you will have to regularly work hard, as has been said already. Otherwise, there is no success in this profession unless you regularly work hard. Just think that whatever you have read in the profession, in the law college, is one thing. That was the textbook which you were taught. But in real life, you will find a lot of different things when the law is applied in the facts of the case or in the courts. But what I have seen in some law books, maybe you also experienced that, a lot of your law books need to be revised. You will find a lot of old judgments in those books, maybe English law on many issues, which may be good when our country became independent, or we were in the early years because our law in our country had not developed. Now with the last 75 years, our law is grown. In all areas we have judgment. Our judgments are being followed by other different countries also. Our Supreme Court judgments are being followed by many countries. But still you will find in the law books some old judgments of the foreign countries. Or some high courts, old judgment of the high courts which you will not even hear the names now. Like Sindh is there, some other states also. All is there. So that I think is required, and maybe the Bar Council has to take a call on that, that some books need revision so that you are taught the latest thing in that. What is the latest position of law? And probably many of you who may have participated in the moot court competitions may have experienced that, because when you prepare for the moot court, you need to search the latest law. And you will not find those judgments in your books, even if the subject is there or the chapter is there. So this is very important. And similar is the position with regard to the syllabus, I think, which I experienced. A lot of new laws are coming. The pattern of litigation is changing day by day, in the sense that new laws are coming, or some laws are creating more litigation. Because once you are to go in the litigation side, you need to study those laws in detail. It's not that some law is a small thing. Like, for example, there is a Domestic Violence Act is there. A lot of litigation is being generated, very small act. Or you have the Negotiable Instruments Act, 7, 8 sections only. How much litigation these are generating? Similarly, there are other laws also. So why not to teach the students those laws in detail, which are generating more litigation? Or you take them like ADR is coming more. Promote that at the very beginning. Mediation is there. Arbitration is there. We are promoting that. But those, I think, much stress is not laid on that. In that also, I would request the Bar Council to take care of that so that these things are revised regularly. Otherwise, we will teach you something which may not be practical today when you are going to the profession. You are entering a noble profession, and we all know, okay, in this courts, only those people will go who are harassed from all sides. So they see some hope in you. And there is your responsibility now, as Dr. Venkataramani said, that you have to be alive to that situation. You should know where the shoe is pinching. Then only you can find a solution for their problem. And there you have to be a good human being first before a good lawyer. Because humanity will bring you that quality. This is a profession, I think you are seeing the photographs in this hall. Lot of our freedom fighters were the advocates. Some of the photographs here only, and you must have read in a history, many of them. They left their practice also to join the freedom struggle. And we all must be proud of the fact that there is only one advocate who was conferred the title of Mahatma. He was Mahatma Gandhi, and he was an advocate. So see the respect to the advocates given at that time. Now, as a law student, you all must have read the Constitution also. The basic document. Everything flows from that document only. We have to carry that. We move with that only in court, and all laws have to be compliant to the provisions or the conditions laid down therein. There are two important chapters. There are a lot of important chapters in that. Part 3 must have read fundamental rights, because everybody is concerned with that only in the society. But there is equally important is part 4A, fundamental duties. Nobody laid any stress on that. There are many fundamental duties provided in that. And if we discharge our duties, everyone in the society, probably there is no need to call for the fundamental rights, because this is equivalent fundamental right with someone, which is your duty or which is duty of someone else. So foremost duty, I think, one thing to be taught from school level only is that we should make people or the students or the youngsters alive of their duties. Because everybody thinks that what the nation is doing for me, what the government is doing for me. We should think what we can do for the nation. If we start thinking that way, probably we may reach somewhere else. Already it's a peaceful nation, as Mr. Venkataramani said. We believe in peace only because we all know Mahatma Gandhi, what he used to say. Now there are many fundamental duties you must have read. I will not go into all this. But one of the important is to strive toward excellence. So excellence हमारे को जो भी काम करें इस profession में हमने enter किया, तो I think we should move toward the excellence. If we have a target of 100% only, then we can achieve 60-70%. If we go by the target of, like in exam we appear and we say 60% marks आ जाए तो ठीक है. If you have the target of 60, you will get 40-45 only. If you have the target, no, I need perfect 10, then only many people get perfect 10 also now. In our time, I think the pass percentage would be 40-45% only. And 60% was very few. Now the pattern of examination has changed, so a lot of students in class 10 or 12 get perfect 10 also. So this is good. But we should aim for that. And then only we can achieve maybe perfect 10 or near that amount. For these all fundamental duties, I think the foremost part would be the self-discipline, which sometimes is missing. Like if you see our attitude, say mindset is there. If we go on a road, in Chandigarh comparatively the discipline is there, but at many places you will see if you go on a road on a crossing, you don't see the red light, you see whether any policeman is standing there or not. Our mindset is that. Because we are not self-disciplined, that if a red light is there, we need to stop. If you go to a foreign country, Even if there is a yellow blinking light, they will stop the vehicle and then move, even at the midnight also. So that mindset is required to be changed. So this is required, and probably a red letter day in your life, yes, and you are few of the lucky law graduates who are getting your certificate of practice or license in the presence of none else than Dr. Venkatramani, the Attorney General of India. And I don't know whether you have read in the Constitution about his status, because my association goes, we had shared a platform in February 22, I think in Noida in a program. A gentleman par excellence, I found him, and now the interaction is more after I had come to Delhi. But do you know about the status? He is the top law officer in the country, top. His constitutional status, there are only two posts of law officers provided in the Constitution. One is Attorney General for India and another is Advocate General for the state. There is no other law officer in the Constitution. And his status in the protocol, which is the protocol we have, is above even the Chief Justice of an High Court. So you are lucky to be here in this program where you are getting your certificate of practice or license in his presence. Probably the credit also goes to Mr. Sidhu, who had persuaded Dr. Venkatramani, because his schedule, I know, after coming to Delhi, earlier also we could realize that the kind of workload there, very difficult to spare time. And because of, I think, the vacations there, he had been able to persuade him, and coming from Bangalore, then good for you. Idea was to motivate you that you can also reach, because the top place is always vacant. This is normally said. So you can also put your hard work and reach wherever you like. Initially, Mr. Sidhu told me that some certificates are to be distributed to the law graduates, and then I have to attend the function. I said, no problem, in Chandigarh there is no issue. But when the e-card came, he said on the legal ethics also I need to speak something. So I will touch that part also. Normally, after changing the sides, we are now in the profession where we speak through judgments only. We hear more and write instead of speaking. But one thing is required, a change in attitude immediately. A change in your responsibility, your role. I read in one article by none else, the grandson of Mahatma Gandhi, Gopal Krishna Gandhi. So authenticity must be there, because he shared this story in one of the functions. कि जब महात्मा गांधी 1893 में अफ्रीका गए, so he was sitting in a court of a magistrate. He was wearing his normal turban, जो वो यहाँ पगड़ी वगैरह डालते हैं. The magistrate immediately pointed out that no, you can't sit in a court wearing this turban. He went out, he felt offended. Went out, gave some press statement also, something like that. That no, he had misbehaved with me and all that. Fine, matter ended. After a few years or something, he again went there, wearing the turban. Magistrate again said, no, you can't enter here with turban. He immediately removed it. Somebody maybe who was there earlier also, this time also, he said, earlier you had not removed it, now you removed it. He said, no, I have now joined the profession. I am an advocate. I am bound by certain principles, certain guidelines, certain norms for appearance in court. So I can't be a normal human being now. So this is the change you require now, because you are entering a noble profession, a responsible profession, where a lot of people will come to you and share their difficulties, problems, and find a solutions. And you need to work from them. So this is the change required. One another story, because you see, now I don't know, there are a lot of books in the earlier classes also, elementary classes have changed probably. In our times, lot of things used to be taught by these stories only. या अब वो मोबाइल का ज़माना सारा आ गया कि वो जो हमारे टाइम में सुनते थे ना, स्लीपिंग टाइम में दादी नानी की कहानियाँ, ऑल हैव फिनिश्ड नाउ. उसमें सब में मैसेज था कुछ ना कुछ. नो अनदर जस्ट बहुत सारी चीज़ें ये मैगजीन में उसमें छपती हैं. अनदर स्मॉल स्टोरी आई लेट यू नो. समबडी वाज गोइंग टू ए टेम्पल, बास्केट है उसके पास, इन दैट सम फ्रूट्स आर देयर, फ्लावर्स आर देयर, सम कोकोनट एंड ऑल, जो भी ऑफर करते हैं. तो समबडी आस्क के कहाँ जा रहे हो, क्या है? सेड के फ्लावर्स हैं, फ्रूट है, दिस. आफ्टर द पर्सन रिटर्न बैक फ्रॉम द टेम्पल, समबडी आस्क ये क्या है? ही सेड प्रसाद है. Same commodity. It's only your mindset is changed. The same thing you call flower, fruit or coconut while you are going to the temple. The moment you come back, you say this is a prasad now. So this is how you need to change. And one American judge once said, ethics is knowing the difference between what you have a right to do and what is right to do. So you have to do what is right, not what you think. Now if you see, you are now governed by the Advocates Act, and in that also section 7(1)(b) is there, where some ethics can be defined. Bar Council of India has framed the rules in detail. I don't know how much of you have read about all this, but I think you must read all these. These define lot of do and don'ts for the advocates. These are, I'll not go in much details because you can read all this. It's the duty towards the court is there, duty towards your client is there, duty towards your colleague is there, then opponent is there, and your conduct in the daily life is also. It's not there in the rules which have been framed or the guidelines by the Bar Council of India. But in daily life also your conduct matters. Suppose you go in a black coat, though your Bar Council of India rules say that you should not move outside the court in your dress. They say this is a misconduct. But still, suppose you are going somewhere and you are wearing a dress and there is some issue there, some fight is there or some whatever issue is there where your behavior may not be the normal behavior. It's not your image which is down, it is the image of the profession as such which is down. Many people may not know you, you are A, B, C or D. They will say वो वकील साहब आए थे वहाँ, वो लड़के चले गए. तो वो साहब की बात भी है, as he said, कि जेंडर न्यूट्रल टर्म में भी कोई आए. बट मैं आपको इसके साथ ही एक एक्सपीरियंस कैलकाटा का बताता हूँ. इन कैलकाटा हाई कोर्ट देर आर टू टाइप्स ऑफ जुरिस्डिक्शंस, ओरिजिनल एंड appellate. No, normally in my mind was that the original may be like the case for the first time being filed in the High Court. That should be original side, and the appellate means maybe the appeals and all that coming from different orders from the subordinate authorities or courts. But what I found was that the original jurisdiction was of some territory in Calcutta or close to Calcutta only. Any case filed from that area will be the original jurisdiction. Maybe it is an appeal, maybe it is a writ, maybe any kind of litigation. And the reason told to me by one of the colleague there was that good old times, because that is the oldest high court in the country, set up in 1862 by the charter. All these sahab log जो हैं वो उस area में रहते थे कैलकाटा के साथ. So they wanted their litigation to go to the High Court only. Whatever is there, maybe a suit or anything small issue also will go to the High Court only. So that was the idea, they said. It was little surprising for me, because they never wanted to go to the district courts. क्योंकि वो साहब लोग थे, तो ये वो वाला साहब हमारे को वकील के साथ नहीं लगाना है. But in any case, lot of issues, you can always go through all this. Strike is one of the main issue, I think, on which you must have read lot in the newspapers recently. There is a judgment of the Supreme Court in Harish Uppal being referred to in many orders being passed by the Supreme Court now. Because this is something which is not acceptable for a lawyer. And if you go on strike, probably it's a loss to the lawyers only. It's not for benefit of the lawyers at least. Litigant to suffer kar raha hai, that's a different thing. Because if you see, sometimes a case adjourned during a strike period, maybe it is delayed for years together then. It's off track then. And what justice you are providing to your client? You have seen Harish Uppal was there. I can share the position in Jammu and Kashmir. The lawyers, when they would go to strike, they will just put a lock on the gate of the High Court. This was the system there. So we had to issue contempt notices to the office bearers of the bar. Thereafter it stopped. Otherwise they would put a lock on the gate and nobody could enter the High Court complex. Not even the judges also, just see. This was the kind of behavior there, not acceptable. In a year, probably 70 or 80 days may go in strike only. This was the system. You must have read recently the cases about the Odisha also, where the Supreme Court had come very heavily on the lawyers there for misbehavior and all that. Some criminal cases were also registered. And then one order passed by the Supreme Court in District Bar Association, Dehradun. There are some issues, yes, the lawyers have some issues which may have to be sorted out. So the guidelines in those cases are that you have the committees at different levels, headed by different persons, officers, so that all your issues can be resolved in that. But strike is not the solution. The people come to us for getting the problem resolved. And we go to the court, file a case, argue that. But for our own issues, we don't follow that procedure. We go on strike. Why this is so? Why we have a different standard for that? We can always get our issues also resolved. Because putting a pressure for resolution of any dispute of the lawyers also is not a good thing. That gives a very wrong message to the society that for their own issue, the lawyers go on strike. And as a result of which the cases filed by the litigant are delayed. So don't indulge in that, because now presently the courts are very strict on that. And I'll give you some examples of violations of ethics or misconduct of the lawyers in different cases. If you have read a glaring case of Supreme Court in R.K. Anand, where his certificate license of practice was also suspended probably for 2 years. He had mixed up and all that, some management with the prosecution in a very important case where I think Nanda was there probably. No? Admiral Nanda, his son was there. Some cases came up before us also. You will have false motor accident claims. In one of the case which came up before me in a land acquisition, some lawyer in a city attested a power of attorney of a person who was long back dead in Malaysia. The power of attorney executed to get some compensation. It was running into lakhs of rupees. There are a lot of incidents happening in courts where the lawyers are going with firearms. Because if you see, we are not self-disciplined. If somebody asks you at the entry that we need to check the lawyers also, they will have a lot of hue and cry. And as a result, what happens? Somebody will wear a black coat and go with anything in the court complex. And a lot of incidents are happening in the court complex. You must have seen recently also, Delhi also it happened in UP. One lawyer had killed the another one in the court complex only. So this is what is happening, because we are not habitual of saying somebody that no, we will check you before you enter the court. And there are a lot of issues like you see in High Court also we could find out, and in the Supreme Court also there are cases coming. If something is recorded in the order, the lawyer will say, no, these were not the instructions given to the counsel there to make this statement. If you start disbelieving or believing like this will create a lot of problems, because the next higher court somebody will say he had not done all this. This will be demeaning the profession. So we have to be very careful in all. all these issues. And you have one instance of a Calcutta judge who had, maybe the allegation was misappropriated or maybe not declared and all that, some money received by him as a receiver when he was an advocate. On account of that, he had to leave his judgeship. He was removed. So these things follow you, because you may have a lot of opportunities in life to grow. But if you conduct any such mistake or any such action in your professional life, maybe at the early stage, that will follow you, because you have a lot of friends in the society, in your profession also, who will give all the details when you are at the right time to achieve something or have some better position in life. So you have to be very careful from day one in your profession that you don't leave any mark which can be used against you at any stage. And now you're part of a big family. Yes. If you join the profession, I think you go in practice, I'll just say some few words on that. The first foremost issue would be that you should understand the problem of the person who has come to you. Unless you understand the problem, you can't find a solution for that. Because unless you know you have to go from Chandigarh to Delhi, you may catch a bus which is going to Jalandhar. That will not be a solution to his problem. After understanding the problem, then you should know what the law is, which law governs that, and what is the interpretation of that law by the courts. Then only you can draft a case. Lot of research may be required for that. That should be done. Then drafting is there, and thereafter presentation in court. And for that, I think in this profession, the most important part is that you need to have analytical mind. Your communication skills have to be very good. Unless maybe if you are saying anything to the judge or the opposite counsel is also hearing, you are not able to communicate properly what your viewpoint is there, what your argument is there, you may not succeed. And then your presence of mind to show or to answer the questions which are raised in the court immediately, spontaneously. Because the judge may raise many queries, the opposite counsel may come up with some surprise. So unless you are fully prepared, you have all the details, you can't answer those queries immediately. And in the drafting part, many times you see if there is any defect and it is pointed out by the court, you start with the word sorry. So your first argument is not your star point, but sorry is the first point. So your impression, your impact, which you could make at the initial stage on merits of your case, probably may go wrong. And another thing which may be important is that you should be equipped with the latest case law. The idea should not be that you have to win the case only. Why you are called officers? The advocates are called officers of the court, because their duty is to assist the court to come to a right conclusion. Winning or losing one case is not the end of it. You may win one case, and ultimately within a days or months it will be found or noticed that some case you got decided which was contrary to the law or maybe the interpretation of that law. So that will not leave a good impression and may create a lot of problem, because on that basis there may be a lot of issues decided, ultimately causing injustice to a number of persons. And your assistance, why it is more important is there that we judges normally in the cause list may have 50, 100, 200 cases. Sometimes humanly not possible to prepare or not prepare, read those cases in detail. But the lawyers, especially the young lawyers, they may have 2, 3, 4, 5 cases. So prepare them thoroughly, assist the court properly so that the right decision is there. Now with the permission by the Bar Council of India, they have invited the foreign law firms also to open offices there in India, maybe for some limited purpose. But see, this is a competition coming to you. Maybe earlier they used to get this work done from the lawyers here only. And now also, probably they will get this work done from the local lawyers only. But the only difference is they will bill the foreign client in dollars and pay you in rupees. So it's 1/80 only, nothing more than that. So you have to improve your quality or service to that level that they engage you also for that, because you are the expert in local laws there, not the foreign law firms. They also engage the local lawyers only. So that is very important. Time management is another important issue in your profession, that for what purpose you are using your time, because everybody has 24 hours in a day. So how you use that 24 hours, it's all mixed up, your personal life and the professional life, because you are practically, sometimes it is said, you are married to the profession then, because there is no time. Because if you get a case maybe at 9 in the night on some day, and it has to be filed in the morning, you will work midnight only to prepare that case, because then the problem which the litigant had has been transferred to you, maybe along with some money, some premium, but it comes to you, and it is your headache now. So naturally, you have to manage your time also, and again put quality in that. In one area I read that there are 4 C's very important in this profession. One is concentration, second is competence, means the knowledge and all that, and third is clarity, and 4 is commitment. So seriousness in the profession is very important. You have to be very serious in your profession with commitment, because it's a case where you can't issue any advertisement. This is barred if you read the ethics. You can't issue any advertisements that you are a lawyer or doing this type of work. You can't put that even on your visiting card also. They have the guidelines of your board also, what kind of board, or it should not be a big size and all that. So once you can't do, how the people know that you are a lawyer in profession, practicing in a particular court? It's all word of mouth. If you provide some good service to a client, he will say that I had gone to him and he is a very good lawyer. So that kind of quality service you have to provide. Now another important area is, which is coming up more, and in fact in COVID multiplied like anything, is the technology. You should all be equipped with the technology now, because without that I think in this profession also we may fail. COVID में आपने सबने देखा कि courts, barring I think the first call when there was total lockdown, the courts बंद थी, उसके बाद से courts खुली हैं, and everything is going on video conferencing, wherever these facilities were available or set up also at all places. And now also is hybrid kind of a thing is going on for hearing. As our Chief Justice of India normally says, that now it is not the Supreme Court of Tilak Marg, because Tilak Marg is the place where the Supreme Court is. It is Supreme Court for India now, because sitting at your home you can file case online and join hearing also online. We regularly hear the counsel from different places in Supreme Court also, regularly appearing far off places. So this is the advantage of technology. And artificial intelligence also is coming. But one thing you should keep in mind, that don't depend on them totally, because this may mislead also you. It's a era of information. It's only giving you a lot of information. What is right or wrong, still you have to decide. You believe more on the Google than your teacher or the parents, because you say you know better than your parents or the teachers also know. So this is very important, that you should not let this technology take over you. Let this be an helping tool only. Many of you may have visited the website, National Judicial Data Grid. I don't know, but in some colleges where I had gone, they had not informed the students about this website, which contains, I think, tons of material about the cases pending in the courts at different level. And this has been even commented upon by the World Bank also. I think so much of data is not available on a website throughout the world. And it is the second most visited website in the country. First is the agriculture and the second is this, if you see the number of hits on this website. So this is very important. You should visit and see what kind of data is available from district courts to the High Court on the NJDG website, and the Supreme Court website is independent. There also you will find a lot of data. And one thing more I will just share with you in the big. One thing was there, yes, I was reading somewhere that you should also read a book authored by Fali Nariman. It says, the title is Before Memory Fades. You should read the autobiography of a lot of good advocates. I think you will get a lot of things from that, lot of their ethics and their experiences. Now, how your profession is important. We have a population of about 140 crores now. And as I read on, this is all information available on the website only. About 25% are below poverty line. Maybe the income is about, they sometimes mention in dollars only, $2 a day or something. So if you reduce that, you can make calculation. I'm just giving you the figures. Thereafter, about 25% are those whose income are about 2 to 3 lakhs per annum. They are also the people, these two category of people are hardly in litigation, very few. Maybe the second category of people may be in litigation for the reason that they may be labor employed somewhere, so maybe some labor dispute, but very few. We have 4 crore cases pending in the district courts in the country, and about 60 lakhs in the high courts, about 70,000 in the Supreme Court. In one case, how much persons you think to be involved? You will take at least 4 parties in one case, minimum, because there can be more also, there can be less also, on an average. If you multiply this, about 4.5 crore you can take. With 4 only, it will be about 18. And in a family, suppose a dispute is there, it's not at the head of the family who is involved. There may be 4 members in the family also. If you multiply with that, the figure is much more than the people who can be in litigation, they are involved in the litigation. So practically every citizen in the country, every resident in the country by number, I'm not saying all families are involved, they are in litigation. This is how your profession is important. Because may not be directly, but indirectly if you find that somebody or the else, maybe in the extended family or somewhere, is involved in the litigation in court. And if you add in that the number of witnesses and all that in the court, then you will find the number even more. So this is how important your profession is. How you can bring peace, as was said in the society, as we are a peace-living country. The more litigation, that is why we go for ADR mechanisms, because that brings solution to the dispute without fighting actually, amicable solution. So this is how your role is important, and I think I must congratulate the Bar Council here for taking the initiative of starting a new magazine council, and I was told that the e-copy of that is available on the website also. There are a lot of good articles in that, and one of the good articles is for us also how to write judgments. It's a probably training for you also, how the judgments are written and what contents should be there in that. And another thing which I was told, that it is the Vidhi talk also on interviews on some important issues. You should keep yourself alive, because judicial education is a continuing thing. Merely because you have got a degree, you think that now I know everything about law is a misnomer. And once you start thinking that, probably you will not know anything. So continuous education should continue, legal education. Then only you will keep yourself updated in law. There are a lot of amendments coming, a lot of judgments coming. So this is, I just wanted to share with you. I will conclude again saying my best wishes and congratulations to the new law graduates for entering this challenging profession. And good luck to all of you. God bless you. And thanks to the Bar Council for inviting me to be with you on this great evening. Thank you very much. Jai Hind.